Hey guys, Tim here and welcome to another episode of RedWolf TV. As you might have noticed, we are going full on G&G. I've got the shirt, it's all very exciting. And what we have here is the GSS Vintorez AEG NG. Yes, it does look like it's all been torn apart like an episode of Dexter, but this is how it arrives in the box. And since it is like this, I can easily identify the materials for you. This is the battery, we'll get into that in a sec. Now, we'll start off with the stock, with a rubberized butt pad. The stock itself is made out of real wood. You can tell because of the flaky bits at the front. Just get rid of those before you put it together. And this section here, where the motor connects with the gearbox, that is made out of metal. Now I'm going to summon the motor of truth that I ripped out of my P90, and it's going to help me identify what is and what isn't made out of steel. What we have here is a steel front sight, steel barrel, steel rear sight, steel dust cover, and an aluminium receiver. The magazine itself and the grip is made out of plastic. As for the other little fiddly bits, they are too made out of steel. Now, to put it together is a piece of cake, I assume. Ha! Who reads manuals these days? Let's put it together. You see this section here? This goes in there, and you need to press this button down as you do so. Just smack it in, and there you have it. There is no cake. Now that it's been put together, it is actually rather heavy, giving it a total weight of 3.7 kilos, which is 8.3 pounds. The previous two guns I reviewed have also been pretty heavy, but this one is much longer than the HK417 at about 90 cm, which is 35.5 inches. And much like the HK417, the center of gravity is in the middle, so the weight is somewhat evenly distributed. The battery, though, is stored in the outer barrel, but it's so light it shouldn't throw the weight off at all. Now for the fiddly bits. The safety can be found on the right side. Up means safe, down means ready to fire. Pull back the mock charging handle to reveal the hop-up. Right behind the trigger is the fire selector. Right side means semi, left side means full auto. You can also find the scope mount on the left side, as well as a sling point. At the back of the outer barrel is a leaf sight, adjustable for elevation. That is about it, guys. This is really simple. The GSS Vintorez has its own kind of battery. Here it is, like you saw before. It is stored inside the outer barrel. But if you don't think one is enough, because it certainly is not, don't worry. It comes with another one, but it needs its own charger. Again, do not worry. They've got you covered. So how does one insert said battery into said outer barrel? Well, it's actually very simple. The placement looks very awkward, so don't get too excited. First of all, remove the cap here, and then pull out the big black barrel. Insert the battery. As you can see, the spring somewhat fell out. This is actually what is meant to keep the battery in place. So you got to insert it back into the outer barrel, and then fit it into the hole, giggity. Then screw the cap back on, giggity. And there you have it. But that's not it, folks. It is much more complicated than that. If you see inside the magwell, there is a blue light and a little switch you need to flick, because right now, you're unable to fire it. And once you do pull it down, well then, the fun starts. This high-cap magazine has a capacity of 250 BBs. So, let's stop talking and chrono the sexy beast. For the chrono test, we're using 0.2 grams 6mm BBs. It clocked in at an average 330 FPS. We are now at Milsom CQB and Training Center, and they allowed us to use the range again, which is fantastic. Though I do have something to confess. While the crew were taking their time setting up, I had a bit of a go with the GSS Vintorez, and I only have one real issue with it. That is the size of the grip. It is enormous. Though if you do have bigger hands than I do, you won't have an issue here. But if you have smaller hands, you may have trouble grasping the enormity of the wood in grip. What I do really fancy is the computer that works alongside the gearbox. It is incredibly intelligent, far more intelligent than I am, though to be honest that's not very difficult to achieve. Anyway, I can't explain it, I have to show you. Everything is working at the moment. It is not in safe and it's in semi-auto. No response until you insert the magazine. And even then, no response. What you have to do is pull back the charging handle. And only then will it allow you to pull the trigger. Now that I think about it, I'm rather 50-50 with the trigger. I'll let you see what I mean. Look how far back I have to pull the trigger before it decides to respond. If only they made it so it was that far back already, because that trigger response is deadly. Woo. Now for the grouping test. 20 meters away, 0.3 gram BBs, and all I need to do is hold it down and pull the trigger. Alright, at a standstill, the grouping is about maybe 3.5, 4 inches. We'll see once we get back to the office. Let's do some full auto business, shall we? Before we start, have a look at this. Eject magazine, release one more round, and it stops, which is pretty amazing. Now, for full auto mode. To be honest, I prefer it in full auto, much like the Scorpion. There is no denying the fact that the full auto is just much more exciting than semi-auto, as it is on every single gun, I guess. Well, anyway, back to the office. Now for the grouping results. Yes, it is at about 4 inches. The computer has nothing to do with the accuracy. It only makes you feel as if you're firing a real gun, which is fantastic. It does clock in at around 330 FPS, so it's perfectly safe for CQB, though I don't understand why you would take it into a CQB game. This is more of an outdoorsy replica. So, if you want an incredibly well-built, solid AEG that is capable of mowing down your enemies in full auto accurately, the G&G GSS Vintorez is the way to go. So for this cool product and many more, go to our website at www.redwolfairsoft.com and see you guys on the next episode of RedWolf TV. G&G guys, G&G. I'd like to thank Milsim CQB and Training Center for allowing us to use their amazing range. If you'd like to know more about them, click on the link in the description below. Do subscribe to our channel so you can keep up to date with our latest and coolest videos.